This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so welcome to the new session of DevOps. So you would have joined this course with a lot of expectations and stuff. We will go through towards the end to see like what are your expectations are. And let's talk about DevOps first, right? So what comes to your mind when you hear the term DevOps? So you can just throw your ideas, right? We'll just try to note down, and then we will talk about what is exactly the DevOps and why we need this. So what comes to your mind when you talk about DevOps or just hear the term DevOps? Anyone?
It's a combination of development and operations.
Okay. Development and operations team. Okay. Good. What else?
More into the automation stuff.
Okay. Automations. Okay. Good.
Efficient way of delivering products with the help of
Okay.
technology.
So I can say speed of delivery. Speed of delivery, right?
Yes.
Speed of delivery. Okay. Good. I think most of you are having a good idea about like what this DevOps is, and we are going to just talk about all these points. Okay. Anything else comes to your mind?
QA and IT operations, we can say.
What is it? QA and idea.
Yeah, QA and IT operations, we can combination of those.
Right, right. Yeah, that is also in a way it is correct. We'll see that. Okay. IT ops. Okay. So I think you should be from QA background, I believe.
Yeah, correct.
I'll I'm able to find it. Okay. Good. Good. Anything else? Okay. So what is this? No one said about this, right? You get a better pay or better opportunity if you have learned DevOps, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So let's talk about DevOps. I think most of the things that you have talked about, these are all in bits and pieces. We'll try to kind of connect the dots, right? So what is DevOps actually? So there is no any such tool saying that this is DevOps, right? So it's just a methodology. So it's a kind of a strategy that's being followed by the industry in order for us to kind of make sure that we are delivering our product in a more fast way, or we can say speed to market, right? Speed to market. So let us take some example and break down and see what was the scenario before DevOps and what is the scenario after DevOps. Okay, let's take a small example. Let's say that you are going to create a e-commerce site. Okay, one of your client is asking you to create a e-commerce site, for example, right? And they're giving you some requirements. So if it has been like 10 years before, how this will happen? So the client has decided that he wants to create a e-commerce product. Okay, and he has chosen you or your company as one of the vendor. So what they will do from the company, they will send the program manager over the senior program managers and program managers to go and sit with the client and get the requirements, right? These requirements are listed down. So they here the requirements alone will take the requirement sessions alone will take about 3 months, right, to complete. So in which case what they will do, they will sit and discuss, and the client will keep on saying, I need this, I need that, I need this. So these guys, the program managers, will keep on getting those requirements and documenting those in some kind of Word document or whatever tools that they were using at that point of time. Now, keep in mind, until this 3 months, there is no development team, there is no testing team, there is no production team. You don't know who is going to work on this, right? Only the program manager will be sitting with the customer to get the requirement, right? What happens after the 3 months? Okay, assume that they have come to some kind of conclusion. Okay, fine, we got the requirement, let's start. So the program managers will start. By the end of second month, they will start hiring people. Say they have a development team, right? They will have a testing team, and they will have an ops team, right? So they will be leads or managers within this team, right? there will be leads and managers within this team. So what they will do, this program manager will call the lead or the manager from development team, okay, and they will just pass down the information whatever is being passed from the customer. But the leads of the dev team doesn't know any first-hand information from the customer. All that program managers passes only they will know, right? So that is one way that we might do some communication, right? There is a possibility. There may be a lot of reviews and lot of meetings might have happened between the program manager and the client, which might not be documented, right? For some reason, or maybe they would have forgotten. There are a lot of things going on. Everything could not be documented. So whatever is documented will be given over to the dev team. So dev manager or the leads needs to understand what is that, and they will have to let the operations and engineering team know that there is an application like this. It's going to sit on this web server. It needs this much RAM. All those things, and the engineering team and the ops team will work together to build the development server. Until that is done, what they will do, your development lead and the manager will start creating your team. Okay, they will find out the SMAs, senior consultants, and all the other people. They will form a structure in the team and they will start kind of working. Okay, so once they start working, okay, they will start the development, and development can go up to, right? It's just an assumption only. It's not an exact number. It can go somewhere around 4 to 6 months to complete the development. Okay, so until this 4 to 6 months, this testing guys doesn't even have any role to play, right? After the 4th or 6 months, the test managers will be called and they will be briefed about the application, and these guys will take another 2 months to do all the testing. Okay, until that, this operation team doesn't even know what is going to come in their way for production, right? And what will happen at the end of, say, another 2 months, right? Another 2 months, you put it in the production. We can say, instead of production, we can say pre-production, right? Pre-production. So put that in the pre-production. And now when we put to UAT or SIT, right, after doing all our testings and stuff, then we will go back to the client for a UAT testing. UAT is user acceptance testing, right? We go to the client and show him, hey, this is what your product will look like when 3 plus 6, 9 months, 9 plus 2, 11, almost a year, right? Almost a year after he has invested in this program, he is now seeing his first page of your product. The client now doesn't know, right? It need not be the same person who gave the requirement. He might have left. There may be a new guy coming in. There may be an org structure after happened in the client side. So all that will go off. And now what will happen? The client will come and say, I asked one label on the top left. Looks like it is not there, right? Then again, they will go scramble back, go back. Now this program manager is already gone, right? He has handed over to the dev. So dev manager will talk to the client and go and understand what happened, what missed. So the cycle keeps on following like this. So this was called initially waterfall method, right? Waterfall method. We were following this method for a long time in the industry, right? So that is why whenever the client started something, they have to wait at least a year to get to see their first product. Okay. Now what happened this way, the client is not able to make any money or any business until the entire product is out for the delivery, right? So e-commerce said he cannot do anything. So what they have done, the industry has come up with, they have found, right, there is something called agile. You would have heard of agile methodology. So using agile methodology, they have come up with the process and strategy, where we wanted to bring this development teams and ops team, everything together, including testing. Now these teams, development team, testing and operations team, earlier they were operating in silos. So when the development team was learning about the requirement, test team was not even there, right? So test manager doesn't even know what is going to come. Operation manager doesn't know what the application is going to come. What are the monitoring I need to put? They don't know anything. Let's take the same scenario in the DevOps. Now to break these silos, what they did, they put all the teams together. Okay, now the same scenario, the client is giving the project, right? It's again e-commerce project, some project, right? E-com project he is giving. Now what will happen? You will have your program manager, you will have a manager you will have a dev manager, test manager, ops manager, all sitting together and getting the first-hand information straight from the client. Okay, and whether the client is going to give all the requirement now? No, they are going to give a certain requirement which is needed for them to create the minimum viable product. That's called MVP, is minimum viable product. That means with this minimal product or the application, I will be able to start making business, right? That is what they will do. Okay, they will get this. Now, say for example, for e-com, right? E-commerce, assume that your site is the client is going to sell milk, right? They are going to sell milk online. So what is the minimum thing that they need? They need to have a login, they need to have a search, they need to have payment, right? That's all. These are the three important thing they need to make this sell the milk packet through online, right? This is a minimum requirement. So first, the people will start working on this small modules. So what they will do, they will break all the entire stuff into small agile stories, and they are called user stories. You would have heard all these terms in your organization. So if you have sit for any of your daily stand-up meeting, you would have heard of this called user stories. So they will break down the entire requirement to small chunks, and they will start working. And these are all will be called user stories, and they will be done as a part of sprint. Okay, sprint. A sprint is nothing but a 2 to 3 weeks time of development is called sprint. 2 to 3 weeks, not more than that, right? A sprint, whether it will take 2 weeks or 3 weeks depends upon the complexity of the story. The stories will be written in such a way, maximum they should be able to complete the development by 3 weeks, right? So now in this case, since we have our development testing team also with an operation manager also along with the development team, what is the advantage here? The test guys knows what will come. He knows what the functionalities. He can start writing test use cases, right? Except the data, he can start writing the test cases in parallel. And your operation manager can start setting up all the required infrastructure, what he will be expecting, right? So by the time there are first sprint is always called sprint zero. Okay. Sprint zero, there will be no development work. It is all preliminary work, or all prelim work will start happening here, like setting up your system, what is needed, who is going to run this, who is going to do this, how are they going to do this, how many sprint we are going to plan for this minimum viable product, and how it is going to happen, who are the vendors. So many things that they will discuss in sprint zero. So sprint zero basically doesn't do much, but from the sprint one onwards, they will start developing. So when they start developing, the testers also know what to happen. So as soon as the development is over, the testing will happen, and it will go to production, and it again keep on repeating again and again. So now what will happen? You will have a minimum viable product. So by the end of 3 months, right? By the end of 3 months maximum, your client would have already started making money from your e-commerce site. So this is where your DevOps and agile methodologies both comes in, and it will help. Now, how do we kind of do this, right? Earlier, it was taking years and years for us to do the same thing. So these are all possible only by doing automation. So there are tools. We have to use tools. Everything cannot be done manually. If you try to do everything manually, two things will happen. One is delay. Next is you will not know whether the people will be available when the project is getting over or implemented, right? Because people keep changing, and there is a possibility that there can be some errors in your product as well. So what happened? These automations come in, and there are tools to assist your automation. So as such, if you see the DevOps and Agile, they are all nothing but strategy. DevOps cannot work without Agile. Agile cannot work without DevOps. Okay, so both goes hand in hand. Okay, both goes hand in hand. Okay, so this is what your DevOps story actually started like this only. And if you see other thing now, you would have heard of something called Docker, Kubernetes, and all other new things, right? That's because there are two types of application in our industry, right? One is called the monolithic application, another one is microservices. Anyone knows what is this? Have you heard of this term? Monolithic applications and microservices. Okay, so monolithic applications are applications where all the modules and all the logic are kind of tightly bound to each other. All the components are tightly bound. Like for example, I have a war file, right? We used to have a war file that we used to deploy to, say, Apache Tomcat, right? What this war file will have? It will have folder for DB, it will have folder for config, it will have folder for your front end, right? Presentation, right? Front end, presentation layer, everything will be bundled together as one war file. Sorry, and that war file will be deployed to our server. So this is a monolithic application. It's a single war file that contains the entire application. Now, what is the disadvantage with this? Suppose, for example, okay, in your this particular, let's take this scenario, right? You are trying to build this product. Okay, you want to add in payment gateway from you are adding an additional apart from master. You also want to add a Visa card into your payment gateway. What you need to do? You have to go and develop that, and then you have to bring down this application, unzip this var, open that folder wherever the payment is, make the change, again build the application as one var, deploy it, test it, then you release it to the client. That time there may be some kind of overlapping or downtime for this application. They're all highly tightly bound, right? On the opposite to that, monolithic applications are applications which are loosely coupled, That means each and every module, like say payment, login, search, they all run as separate applications. So payment, login, search, everything runs as a separate application, as a small services, microservices. So in this scenario, if you are having an issue with the search and you want to add MasterCard along with the Visa card, only thing you need to do, just make the change, bring down the search, add it and set it. Till the customer will be able to log in, they will be able to do the payment, they will be able to do everything. Business will not get interrupted, right? So that is where we are all moving towards microservices, and this microservices enabled using technologies like Docker and Kubernetes, right? That's called K8s or Kubernetes. Okay, so this is what two types of applications we have in our industry, and this is why we are all moving towards Docker. Okay, we want to do more projects in less time, and for the employer, for the company, what is the benefit? We can get more projects, right? So we can complete the projects on time, and we can get more projects and more work, and people will be busy always, and they will do a lot of things. In some companies, right, or in most of the companies, a user story is assigned to a developer. Okay, user story is assigned to a developer. What they will do, the more user stories, some most complex user stories and more user stories which developer takes, they will keep accumulating points. At the end of the year, they will give some kind of goodies to that particular guy, and they will publish his name in their intranet and almost internal website and everything, right? So that is kind of a motivation for the developer and for other developers also to pick up more user stories and work more things here. And another advantage with this microservices is, if you write a login module once in one application, you can reuse this for other applications as well by tweaking some parameters on it, right? So these are all some of the advantages of having microservices. But you cannot do in this monolithic application. In this monolithic application, these are all bound to this particular application, right? So these are all acting as a separate application. So if there is a new customer coming in for another e-commerce site, just take the login, take the payment, change some few configuration parameters as per the new client, and start deploying. So it's very easy. Okay, let me just pause here. You have any questions? Then we will get into exactly what we have to go through. Please stop me if you have any questions or you are not able to follow also. Please stop me and I'll try to explain you then and there. Okay. Okay, now have all these things in the background. Okay, and let's get into. Don't worry about all those things. Even if you don't even remember even one word from this, whatever we spoke about, don't worry. It's all very simple. We'll try to kind of break it and go. Okay. Now, because the certain things when we talk inside, I'll be talking about microservices. Then you should not kind of assume that what is microservice, right? That's why I just wanted to give you a heads up, like what are these applications are. Now you can go back to your office and you can see your own application, whether they are monolithic or microservices. Okay. So with that, let us just get inside and let's start to see what we actually have. So as I told you, DevOps is a set of practices that combine software development and IT operations, right? The name itself says DevOps. Now the new terminology that's getting introduced is, what is that? Can someone say? It's called DevSecOps. The security is also as part of the DevOps. It's called DevSecOps. Okay. So the security folks, that means whether your application is vulnerable to any attack or your infrastructure is having any vulnerability, all those things becomes your security. And security is also part of your DevOps now. So now the new term is DevSecOps. Don't worry, whatever you will learn will also fall under this one. So you need not go and take a separate course for DevSecOps. Okay. Okay, fine. So this DevOps strategy actually aims to shorten our software development lifecycle, as I told you, where we were using waterfall and it was taking months and months, where you can provide continuous delivery with high software quality. DevOps is complementary with agile software development, as I told you. Without agile methodology, DevOps is not there. Just only DevOps without agile also is not there. So both go hand in hand. Several DevOps aspects all came from the agile methodology only. So we are all using both interchangeably, but we don't call it as agile aspects. But when I talk about user stories, sprint, all those terms are from methodologies are from agile. So what are the why we need to learn DevOps? What are the trends? Why what is happening in the industry? So there is a rising popularity for microservices architecture because of this Docker, Kubernetes, and all those things, right? So now they are moving towards monolithic to microservices. So DevOps plays a key important role. Increased adoption of DevSecOps. So now they have introduced security as well. Then we have so many infrastructure automation tools in DevOps. So you can use this to automate all those creating of infrastructure. Earlier we used to go and click. Suppose if you have learned AWS, you want to create an EC2, you have to log into the console, do few clicks, and then you have to get this one. But again, when you need another machine, you again have to log in and do a click and create another one. Whereas here, you write the entire infrastructure as a code and write it once and run many times, you get the same results, right? You can create a number of infrastructure with that, and you can also version that and keep it in your version control too. Okay, and then cutting edge predictive analytics in DevOps and AI. Now we are getting this artificial intelligence is also coming in. So those are all the few things that are happening, and we are now integrating Kubernetes with DevOps. So these are some of the trends and the predictions that will be for DevOps. So that is why DevOps is growing in more popular fashion, right? So wherever you go, you see you are being asked, do you know DevOps, right? So when we talk about DevOps, there should be one cloud attached to it, AWS and DevOps, right? So you, if you go and use tools in DevOps, all the tools might be in the cloud. So obviously you may need to learn DevOps and cloud or cloud and DevOps, right? Whatever it is. And if you see, like in the olden days, if you remember, I don't know whether you guys are aware, if you are like over if you have average of 8+ years of experience, you know that earlier when we used to release some software, we used to release only over the weekend or every 3 months once we used to release something to production. Now it is not like that. Using this DevOps, what we are doing is we are releasing softwares on a regular basis, right? If you take Facebook releases does almost 1,200 to 1,600 releases per day. How that is possible? That is possible only through automations and tools. Without that, they cannot release that many number of releases in a day. Amazon, right? The Amazon site that we buy all the things, right? So what happens when there is say today there is a new book that has been launched today, you are seeing it in the paper. Immediately next thing what we do, we get into Amazon and start searching that book, and that book is available. How is that available? Because they're able to publish that, they're able to go and push it through DevOps, they're able to release that quickly. Now, if it is in the olden days, it will take 3 months for the book to get into the Amazon, which they will lose the business, right? Now this business is also highly competitive. So all these tools and technologies will really help them to move forward with their business, and we as engineers also will be kind of getting better pay and better opportunity because we are learning the latest and new technologies, and the employer will benefit because they can get a lot of projects in short time and they can utilize the resources like us very efficiently, right? So these are the things that why we are learning. So what are some of the salary trends in India if you are really a DevOps engineer, right? These are all some figures taken some survey, okay? So they are taken from net, nothing that I put it here. So these are all some of the average salary for a DevOps engineer that they will get in the industry, right? And these are all Indian companies, so that is what we put it here. Okay, there are still lot of things. There may be more or less, but still you can take a look It's basically that a normal Java, .NET and other people comparing to those legacy technologies, the resources with DevOps really have an edge over technology as well as their pay and other things, right? So that is the just to show you how this happens. Any questions here, guys? Anything you want to add, you want to ask? So am I clear? Am I fast, or are you able to understand?
Yeah, Chandra, I think we are fine with that speed.
Okay, good. So let's now get into actually what we have to learn, right, in this DevOps. So this is the DevOps life cycle. Okay, whenever you see this infinite loop, think of DevOps, right? Think of DevOps. So what is actually happening, right? This is a continuous process, an infinite process that happens like a loop, right? Say this planned stage, the stage that's here, right? The stage that is here, this is the planned stage where your client will keep on giving the user stories. They will give modules by modules. That is also done continuously. Okay. Those days we used to meet client only 2 weeks once or monthly once. Now we are meeting the clients daily in the agile sprint calls, right? Scrum calls. They call Scrum calls, and we meet them daily. So they're also part of this loop. Then code build. These two comes under development, right? Where the people continuously code the features and they will start building their code, right? And we have a testers who are doing continuous testing. So what you mean by continuous testing here, right? I told you sprint 1, when it is complete, these guys will start testing. By the time sprint 2 will be going on, then once they're done with sprint 1 and they start releasing, sprint 2 will come for their testing. So they're also not free now, right? Everybody is occupied fully throughout the year. Earlier and all, if you see, first 3 months these guys will be busy, second 3 months these guys will be busy, the last 3 months this operation teams will be busy. Now it's not like that. It is a continuous process. And then once they test and release this, then your deployment team or the operations team is responsible for deploying the code into the environment, and they maintain the operations and also regularly monitor the performance of the application and report back if there are any issues, and the developers keep fixing, right? It goes on and on like this. So it's an infinite loop, and this is our DevOps life cycle. Okay, this is what happens in our DevOps. Okay, so some of the key things you want to know, something is some of the few things that we saw here, like continuous development, continuous testing. Let's just deep dive into what are those things, right? So this is the stage in the DevOps life cycle where the software is developed continuously, as I told you, right? When sprint 1 is going on, okay, 2 weeks done, then they will do a sprint 2, sprint 3, and when sprint 1 is about to finish itself, they will start the sprint 2. Okay, because when I say development team, it's not only 1 people or 2 people. There may be like a four size pizza team or a six pizza team, right? 6 people pizza team. Now we don't have people like 50 people, 70 people in a team. It's all just maximum 6 people pizza size, right? They used to call pizza team size. So unlike waterfall method, the software deliverables are broken down into multiple sprints of small development cycles, like 2 to 3 weeks, depends upon the complexity of the user story, and then delivered in a very short time. Continuous testing. This is a stage where the developed software is continuously tested for bugs. You keep on testing. So the cool thing here is no one guy can say that I'm a full DevOps engineer, right? So I cannot do all the work. So if I am a developer by default, I will be coming under development, in the DevOps, I'll be in developer area, right? Testing people will be in the testing area, and the operations and system administrators will be on the operation side, and they all three will work in tandem. They will work hand in hand to make sure this is being done. Okay. Continuous integration. So now what happens, right? Now you have built your code, you have tested your code. What happened next? Right? Next we have to integrate, right? We have to integrate our code. Earlier, what they used to do, we used to have something called integration managers. Integration, there was a role in the industry called integration manager, where the life of integration manager was very, very bad. That means we have 5 people in a team, all 5 will be doing some coding development, and they will all be having it in their local. So once all the coding is done, the integration manager will take all the code, he will integrate and compile that code. There will be a lot of errors coming in. and everybody, people start blaming each other, right? They will start blaming, okay, I didn't do, A did this, B did this, C did this, right? It's not my code, it's not your code. So the integration managers had a very bad and tough time. They used to sit nights and nights to get it all integrated, compiled, and then release it, right? So that was all olden days. Now we don't have any integration manager role itself in the industry. It's all gone. Either they all moved to the agile managers or DevOps managers, right? Or DevOps managers or Scrum masters. They have moved to a different role. So that is why we have this integration channel here, and where we will use some tools to integrate all our code. Since there is a continuous development of software, the updated code needs to be integrated continuously as well, right? As smoothly with the system to reflect changes to the end users. The changed code should also ensure that there are no errors in the runtime and it does not break any existing application. So you keep on making sure that when you integrate, you will come to know what happens. Okay. One more thing, in the earlier scenario, when our user was trying to test the UAT, right? When she or he was testing the UAT, they used to find a lot of bugs because so many things might have got changed and no one would have tested it. But in this case, what will happen? The developer will catch all the bugs early before sending it to test. The testers will catch more advanced bugs, and they will send it to development for fixing. So by the time it goes to the client will find very little bugs, very little bugs. Maybe some business logic has changed or something. That might be the issue, but there will not be any code kind of code issues. All things will be caught in the beginning itself. So that way that you need not rework on the same issue again and again, right? So that is the role of this continuous integration. Then we have continuous deployment, right? This is the stage where your code is now already integrated. Now we have to go and put it in our production environment. So here we will make sure that code is correctly deployed to on all the servers and the appropriate servers that it has to go in. In addition, there are new feature is introduced. Then we have to make sure that the operations team is predicting the traffic, right? How the traffic will be. So they will be responsible for making sure they have adequate infrastructure on the hosts already whenever there are new features and more traffic is coming in. Say, for example, you are going to put a sale for your e-commerce site on this Sunday. So what you will expect, normally every week, every day, 10 people visit my website to buy a milk packet. Today I'm putting a sale of 50% off. What will happen? You are expecting 10 into 10, 100 people to come. What happens if 500 people comes? Yes, right? You don't have the infrastructure to support them, right? So that is what all your infrastructure as code and other all cloud will come in handy, which it will auto scale and bring up more instances for you, and your system administrator need to be ready, and he should anticipate all those spikes in the traffic and act accordingly. And since the code is also deployed on a continuous, we have to make sure the configuration management is very strict here. It's very strict because we need to make sure we know what is being pushed to production. If something happens, how can I roll back? Where is my code? Where is my working code, right? So a configuration management tools are there, and we can use those management tools to kind of execute tasks quickly and very frequently. Then continuous monitoring. This is very crucial stage in your life cycle because this is where you kind of constantly improve your software, right? Performance of your software, and you also make sure that you monitor the performance and how it's behaving when there are 500 users, when there are peak time, how it is happening. So you watch all those using some APM tools. What are APM tools? APM stands for Application Performance Monitoring Tools. There are tools like Datadog, New Relics, Zabbix, right? Splunk. So there are so many tools, App Dynamics, Dynatrace. There are so many tools which can monitor your infrastructure and your application and application process. What is happening at the peak time, right? It will give you a kind of metrics, and with that metrics, you can come out with some insights and provide it to your project manager, and they will start incorporating into the next sprint, right? If it is very critical, they will try to have a sprint, an emergency sprint between, and they will release it within a week, right? That's what they will do. Okay, so we have a lot of dedicated monitoring tools where they can continuously monitor all the application performance, and they can highlight the any issues that with the application. So this is exactly what we are trying to do here in this picture, right? So continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. That is closing our loop here now. So we will not be talking much about this plan because client is involved here. We have some tools which the client uses, which we are not really bothered about, but think that client also continuously gives the requirement to our team. So it's kind of closing the loop, right? It's not just a small break here. There's no break. Actually, it was also happening parallelly. But if you see this stage plays crucial important, but again this stage will always be, there will be a backlog, so people will take the stories from the backlog and start working, and client will keep on putting it in the backlog, right? They will not say, okay, now you are done with sprint 0, do this sprint, but they will not do that. They will have a backlog of more than 6 or 7 sprint at the start of the sprint itself, right? So they keep on working from the backlog, and these clients will keep on pushing that into the backlog, right? If it's something emergency, they will bring this backlog to the top one and push that out first. So they will also do continuously. This is what they will also do. Any questions here, guys? Let me just put a pause here. If any questions, please let me know.
No.
Okay. So let's talk about continuous integration also once, because let's see what are the different tools and techniques that the developers will be doing. So developers will write their code and they will push it to some kind of code repository. So common code repositories are GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab. Code commit is the AWS native repository, AWS code commit. Okay. Then a testing or build server checks the code as soon as it is pushed, and we will, if they use something called code build, that is from AWS. Jenkins is the core of the entire DevOps system, and 95 to 98% of the industry is using Jenkins as the continuous integration tool. That CI stands for continuous integration, right? So there are still so many other tools. We will talk about those tool sets. The developer gets feedback about the tests and the checks that have passed or failed immediately, right? They can, with this integration, what will happen? Advantages: you can find bugs early and you can fix it, and you can deliver faster as the code is tested, and you can deploy your application often, right? You can just test your code immediately. The developers are happy because they are not blocked, so they can move forward. So this is what your continuous integration happens. So it is the developer here. Okay, he pushes the code to the code repository, and the build server will look for this code. Any changes in this, it will take, build, test it, and send the results back to the developer. The developer is happy. If there is any error, it will just communicate to him. It will not throw it to the next level, so that he will try to fix all the bugs as much as he can before it moves to the testing stage, right? So this is what your continuous integration is. Continuous delivery: ensure that the software can be released reliably whenever needed, right? Whenever you want, you can go and release the software. So when we say whenever we need, right? Now you cannot push whatever you're doing in dev to production immediately. So what they will do, they will push everything to dev server, right? Until it goes to dev server, everything is completely automated. No manual touch, nothing. But when it moves to UAT, they will stop there, and the client will start the testing. They will provide the sign off. Once the sign off is given, then only they will push it from UAT to production. Someone need to sign that, saying all the changes are good, we can move to production. Because if you don't have any manual intervention in between, any developer puts some junk, it will directly get into the production, right? Which is not correct. That is why they have a kind of a way to govern this entire activity, right? So there are people who are designated to do certain things at certain point of time. It ensures deployments are happen often and are quick. As I told you, your Facebook or Amazon, they all do at least 1,500 to 1,600 deployments per day. That is because of these tools. You shift away from one release every 3 months to 5 releases a day. This is just a standard industry standard practice. 5 releases a day. It again depends on your requirement, your application, your criticality, and everything. So as I told you, Facebook does at least 1,500 releases a day, right? So the average is like we move away from 3 months to 5 releases per day. So that usually means automated deployment. So there's only way that you can do this is using some tools. You have to automate something, to configure in such a way that everything is automated, and then those tools will take care for you. You will not do anything manually. So some of the automated deployment tools are we have AWS Code Deploy, that is a AWS native tool. Then Jenkins. Jenkins is both a continuous integration and continuous delivery platform. Okay, that's a Jenkins. That's why if you see here also, we would have given Jenkins as Jenkins CI, and here is Jenkins CD. So that's called CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline. CI/CD you would have seen in the profile or any job profile or in your organization, you would have learned, can you create a CI/CD pipeline, right? This is what they do. And there are some other tools like Spinnaker and other tools are there, and those tools are all less commonly used. Jenkins is the predominantly used in the industry. So this is what your continuous delivery is again now, right? So you put everything, it will come to the deployment server and the deploy to all the servers correctly. Make sure the application versions are running correctly on the designated servers. So very important when you go and sit for your interview, right? When you go and sit for your interview for DevOps, one of the questions will always be, what is the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? Both looks kind of similar. So you need to really understand the difference here. When you go and sit for the interview, you say you're going for DevOps. They will ask you what is DevOps, and they will ask you some of the tool sets that you have used. They will ask what is continuous delivery and deployment. Okay, so continuous delivery is ability to deploy often using automation. But as I told you, it may involve some manual step. So be very careful to approve a deployment, right? They have to approve before moving into production. So there is a manual thing that is there. The deployment itself is still automated and repeated. So once you automate once, if you run more times, it's going to produce the same results. Okay, only the code is going to change, but the configuration remains the same. You can repeat it. You can reuse those codes again and again, right? So that is the continuous delivery. In continuous deployment, if you see, it's a full automation. Every code change is deployed all the way to production, but even though the documentation says that all the way to production, normally none of the companies does this till the end. They do till UAT, they do full automation, and for production, someone has to sign. Otherwise, what will happen? All the junk that we put inside the, if I put a, okay, suppose if I'm writing a Java program, I say system.out.println, hi Chandra, that also will get into production if I don't put a break there, right? So that is why here. So at least up to UAT, there are no manual interventions for any approvals and stuff. So again, this all varies from company to company. The processes and strategies they will adopt based upon which is best suited for their requirement, or based on their team, or based on some kind of strategy. They will adhere to this, but these are all the methodologies that are available for us. So what are the different tool stacks that we have? Now we talked about what is DevOps, what are this life cycle. Now what are the tool sets that are available and what I'm going to learn from this particular course, right? That's very, very important. So there are a lot of tools available. It is impossible to learn all the DevOps tools in the world, right? What will happen? For example, let's take monitoring tool. I already listed you at least 6 to 7 tools. It's very, very, very difficult to go and learn all 6 or 7. By the time you learn 7, it may have released another 3 more, right? So it's very difficult. So what we are going to do, we are going to learn only the tools which are predominantly being used in the industry everywhere, wherever you go, right? And if they happen to use some other tool, it's going to be similar to the tool that we are going to learn only. Okay, so that's what we are going to learn. But there are a lot of tools. Let's talk about for the planning. Plan will be for your customers, right? They can use Subversion, they can use Jira to write some stories and all those things, right? They can use that. Code we will be using Git. Git is our source control tool. That is what we are going to see. And then build depends on build. The tool that we will be using for build will depend upon the code, the language that we are writing our code. If we are going to write our code in Java, we can use Maven, Gradle, or Apache Ant. If we are using .NET as our code, we will be using MS Build, right? So it depends upon the language that you are using, right? If you are using a Node.js, then we will be using NPM, correct, to build your code. So it depends on that. But for our course, we will be having a sample Java program and we will be using Maven to build our Java code. Okay. Testing. Now, of course, testing part we will not cover, but there are tools like Selenium, JUnit, automation test cases, which you can pass as part of your pipeline, right? Coming to the right hand side, right? So coming to the right hand side for the deployment, We have a lot of things. We have Ansible. We will be learning about Ansible. We will be learning about Docker, right? There are other tools like Puppet, Chef, SaltStack. So many things are there. But the Ansible, Docker, and Kubernetes are the most widely used tools for all your deployment and configuration automation stuff, right? That's what we will see. And operation and deploy will be the same. And for monitoring, we will not be seeing any tools, but we have some tools like Nagios, Slack, Splunk. There are so many tools where you can monitor. So the left hand side you have complete build, right hand side you have complete production. Who is going to integrate this? So our Jenkins will be the tool that will be used for integration. There are other tools like Bamboo, Hudson. They're all very old and they're all only used to less than 2% in the industry. Jenkins is the most widely used integration tools for your CI/CD. Okay, so there are so many tools here. Like what exactly we are going to see, right? These are all the tool sets. I got this picture from somewhere. Looks like a periodic table in chemistry, right? It looks like this. You take a look and go through this. You see these are all the tools that are being used in DevOps. Can we read all these tools? No, we cannot, right? It's impossible, right? That's why I told you we cannot learn all the tools of DevOps. So what we will do, we will learn the one which is very important, most predominantly used, and I can get a job immediately, right? That's what we need to do. Okay. Okay. So any questions here, guys? So I would recommend you to when I share this to you, please take some 5 to 10 minutes to just go and see what are these tool sets, right? There are different colors. So different colors for different things like testing, continuous integration, security, monitoring, analytics, right? So there are so many things. Good. Someone was asking something.
Yeah, it's me, Pawan.
Yeah.
Chandra.
Yes, Pawan.
What is the prerequisite to become DevOps engineer? Like anyone can be DevOps engineer, or any automation skills or anything we have to learn from our end, which will enhance our skill set, right?
Right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll just go through the tool sets we are going to see. Then we will just talk about what is the prerequisite that you need, and if you are from a developer background, what you need. If you are from a testing background, what you need, and we will just go through that. Just give me a minute. We'll get to that. Okay.
Okay, Chandra. Thank you.
Okay. So these are some tool sets. I'll upload this. You can kind of go and take a look at this. Okay. So I was shocked to see this many tools. It was there in this DevOps tool chain, and I really like this
Seriously.
picture. So it's, if you even ask me, I only know maybe handful of tools here. That's all, not more than that, right? So it's very difficult, right? If you are using Terraform for your infrastructure as code, then you will be using TF here, right? So it comes here like this. So you kind of pick and choose based upon what you are working, right? Okay, that's fine. So these are all the list of tools that we will be doing complete hands-on in this course. Okay. Again, one more thing, let me be very clear. We will do completely, we will do hands-on. How we will be learning this tool? This we will learn each and every tool separately. Git for version control, Maven as a build tool since we are using Java projects, but still I will show you a .NET project which I'm not aware of .NET, but still I know how to build a .NET. I can show you that how to build a .NET. If you are a .NET C# guy, you can use that. Then Jenkins, very important continuous integration tool, how to configure Jenkins and how to make sure we build jobs and create configurations for that, right? Then Ansible, very important. Configuration management automation tool is Ansible. Without Ansible, you cannot do anything. Okay, say for example, your manager is asking you to install Apache in 50 machines, right? You are an administrator, is asking you to install Apache on a 50 machines. What you will do normally? Normally, we will have to log into each and every 50 machines and do one by one the same thing again and again, and that will take at least 2 weeks for you to complete. Without, and there is a chances there is a error. But whereas in Ansible, within a click of a button, you'll be able to deploy to thousands and thousands of server the same configuration. Okay, that's what we are going to see. Then we'll talk about Docker. Since we are now getting into the world of microservices, we need to really talk about Docker, right? How you are able to containerize your applications, and then we will at last we will see our Kubernetes. So for your course, Kubernetes is just an overview of Kubernetes, but still I will show you how to install, how to do some hands-on also, right? I'm not just going to do only theory on that. Everything will be hands-on. So we will be separately learning each and every tool, and we will be starting to automate and think of all these 5 tools as 5 pipes, right? 5 or 6 pipes, and we start connecting the pipes one by one. We study the entire pipe, then another pipe, then connect the 2 pipes, then the other one. At the end of the class, you go and check in your code. Automatically, it has to get deployed to your Docker. That's what we are going to see. Okay, this is what we will be seeing here, and I will guarantee that we will be doing all complete hands-on. I will let you know what you need to download, how you need to download, how you need to install everything. I will show you live here, and we will record that and share the video as well, so you can go back, refer, and do that. Okay, and wherever I need more than one machine, right? Wherever I need more than one machine, I will be using AWS because I'm aware of AWS. I will be using virtual machines from AWS. If you are already familiar with AWS, you can go ahead and do that. If you are familiar with Azure or GCP, you can go and create a virtual machine there. Still, it will work, right? So that is the plan. Okay, this is what we just had for the introduction. So let's talk about some of the prerequisites what we need to have. So most of the resources, right, are the people who are ready to learn DevOps. The first question comes in: should I know some language, right? I don't know any programming language. Should I learn something? Okay, my recommendation for you all is, if you are having time, right, I would recommend you to know some basics of Linux and some basics of Python. Most of the automated scripts are written either in Linux shell script or Python script. Okay, so I would recommend this. It's not mandatory, but it is preferred. If you really want to excel in this, this will give you some kind of what to say, some kind of entry, right? So you don't have to kind of worry about your programming language. But even if you don't know this, don't worry. For the course, that whatever that I'm going to take for you, all the code that I am using will be shared to you, and I will explain the code then and there what is happening, and you can go and learn. If you are interested, you can learn more on those tools and technologies. Say for example, your your Jenkins is written in Java. It doesn't mean that I need to learn the full Java, right, to know the Jenkins. You're not going to write anything in Jenkins, but you should know how to configure Jenkins to make sure that you are able to deploy and integrate your application, right? That's what we have to see. So those scripts are written as Groovy scripts or Ruby scripts, right? Those things we will see wherever it is necessary. Okay, so that is the this one. So there is no any prerequisite from this standpoint for this course. But if you have any background, that is fine. If you are a developer, you might be already having some kind of exposure to some kind of language, right? Maybe a Java or .NET or Ruby or Python or Go, whatever it is. It's better. If you already have studied AWS, you might have known some basic Linux, I believe. So that is also fine. Okay. Okay, so those are all things you don't have to worry about the what is going to happen here, right? So even this method is for the build. We will go and configure a lot of XMLs, so you don't have to learn XML for that, right? You just need to know how to do that, so that at least you see the structure, and when an XML file is given to you, you know at least how to interpret that, right? That is what you need to do. Once you go and land up some job in DevOps, and you will be put to do some activities. Say for example, you are a Kubernetes administrator, then that time on the job you will be learning in depth on the Kubernetes, right? But the basic thing you will know. So that is how we have to approach this particular DevOps. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to learn, right? So I will say, okay, we have an infrastructure as code. Can you learn Terraform? It will take another 6 weeks to learn Terraform, another 6 weeks to learn Go, another 6 weeks to learn Linux. So what will happen? It will take at least 3 years for you to go and land up a job in DevOps, right? So that cannot happen, right? So we have to get the job quickly, get in there, and always learn on the job. That's the best thing that you need, best and smart way to approach this. Okay, fine. Any questions that you guys have? Anything open up? You have any question on these topics or on this any doubt? How will this course go? What we will do, and all those things? Please, it's just open to you, and you guys can just ask me anything that you need. And before that, let me also say the flow of this course, right? How we will be going about these courses. Okay. So we will on the weekends we will be doing at 6 p.m. IST. Since today is the first class, we just did for 1 hour. Once we start the tools, then we will be going for mostly 2 hours. Okay, 6 p.m. IST. We will be starting the class on Saturday and Sunday. If there are no classes for some reason, I will communicate to you a day before at earliest. If it is very emergency, maybe a late notice, but other times I will try to make it at least a day before for you to say whether the class is there or not. I will share the link. It's going to be the same link which you have used. It will be the same link throughout the course. And this course will be live recorded. Whatever that we are doing now, it will be live recorded and it will be shared in your Google Drive. Google Drive. So what I want you to do is I want your name, phone number, and your email, Gmail address, specifically Gmail, right? Put this 3 format in the group chat that we have, right? Put it in the WhatsApp. I will take that and I will give you the access to the folder. So this is the folder I have already created for you in my Google Drive. So you need to just go to drive.google.com and go to shared with me. Click on this. Once I get your email ID, I will share it to you. Then all the contents inside this folder you can download and have it in your local. So today we will be uploading the introduction slide and the recording that we get it after the recording is over. So after the class is over, the recording will take 1.5 hours to get processed. Once it is processed, I will upload it there and keep you guys posted in our group, WhatsApp group, right? This is what our thing will be. Only one request from my end is please make sure you try to join at least 5 minutes before the start, because as we start the tools, it will take long time to complete, right? Because we have to do hands-on and we have to do a lot of things. So if we keep on repeating the same thing again and again, we will lose time. Okay, so we have to complete this quickly so you can move on to your next course or the next plan of action, right? So please try to be available at least 5 minutes before. And one more humble request is please try to do a hands-on workout after the class also. If you're having some time, please work it out so you will know like what we are doing. Whatever I am doing, it will look like it's very easy, okay, because I have done so much time, I know what to do. But when you are doing yourself, you will face a lot of issues, and that is where you will be kind of learning a lot of things. More you troubleshoot, more you will learn, right? So I would recommend you to please go ahead and do the hands-on. I will give you some exercises as well. I'm not going to ask you whether you have done or not, but I'm hoping that you will kind of take some time to do that and try out, right? And in case if you have any questions in the weekdays, please ping me in the group. I will try to get back if I'm having some time from the office. If not, in the weekends, I will try to call you or you can call me. Okay. So this is what our flow of the class is going to be. If you wanted any change in this, please let me know. If everybody is fine, we can do that.
No, Chandra, 6 p.m. is very fine with us.
Okay.
Yeah, and one more thing, you said like we have to practice in maybe which cloud you prefer, like AWS, Azure, or Google, right? So if anyone doesn't have any account on any of their cloud
Yeah,
service, like is it
if you are not
possible?
aware,
Yeah.
yeah, you can use your Oracle VirtualBox to create multiple machines,
Mm-hmm.
or you can
Okay.
use a VMware to create multiple machines. It's up to you. If you are aware of any of the cloud, you can use cloud. I am saying cloud because it's very easy. I can just spin up
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
instance and
yeah.
create
So we
cloud,
need to
right?
create an account, right? Earlier
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we created
yeah.
and it got expired. So again, we need to
Okay.
create an account in Excel.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I
and
hope you all
suppose
completed your AWS, right? Already.
yes.
Okay.
And Chandra, what will be the duration of this course? Like it will take
The
around.
duration of this, yeah, the duration for this would be around 16 to 18 hours. Okay,
Okay.
16 to 18 hours. So we will try, if we are continuous, right? We will try to complete in a month's time.
Okay.
Okay, because I know there are some holidays coming in between and all those things, right? So we need to plan accordingly. Okay, and if one of you is not available for the call today, no problem. All the recordings, everything will be shared. Go through the recording. If you have any doubt, you can get back to me. Okay, so that way, even if one of you join and none of you join, it's just only one, still the recording will go on, and still the class will go on, and we will go and post all the videos and materials. Okay. So again, when you try to apply for a job for DevOps, right? So basically, they don't ask you only DevOps, right? So you have to know some cloud, and more specifically, AWS is better. Okay, so you have that, right? You have a kind of an edge over others. And now what happens is industry, they want one resource to do multiple jobs, right? It's not we have each and every resource for one job, right? Earlier we used to have guy only for development, or guy only for testing, guy only for integration and all, right? Now we have to do everything. You have to configure Jenkins, you have to write your code. So they're expecting multi-skilled personalities, right? So this is highly competitive. So my suggestion, if you have not done any cloud course, if you have already enrolled for cloud course, it's well and good. If not, either try to learn by yourself or enroll it somewhere and get to know those things. That will give you a lot of edge, and you can write your AWS certifications as well once you're done with your AWS, which will really help you to stand apart in the crowd when you're applying for a job.
Sure, Chandra.
Okay. Okay. All right. So please share me the details that I asked you, like name, phone number, and Gmail. I will give you all the access. I will upload the PPT that we used today, and we will also go ahead and upload this video, and I will give an update in the WhatsApp group, and you can download. Let me show you how to download also, right? So what you just need to do, you just need to go inside any folder there, and you just need to right click here and say download. Please don't remove it for download. It will zip the entire folder and download. Or if I have two files here, you can right click and download one by one. It is up to you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone? Abhinav, Bashir, Pavan, Pramila, Punita, Vasavi?
Yeah, Chandra, I have one question.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no,
Thanks
just
for
me.
this.
No.
Yeah. One by one, right? Who started it? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Pawan,
Go ahead, Pavan. Yeah, go ahead, Pavan.
yeah, like post this course, how many years experience we can add in our resume?
If you are really doing all this hands-on and you are confident enough, you can say you have worked more than 1 year, right? If you can very well say I have worked 1 year in this, because all the assignments or the work or the hands-on that we are doing, we'll be doing the ones that is really happening in the industry. Okay.
Okay, thank
Will you help in editing the resume by keeping this DevOps as a
Yeah,
add-on?
yeah, yeah. I will uh, just share me your profile if you have. Then once we are
Yes, yes.
halfway through, we can try to
Yeah, yeah.
modify your profile. And if you have already completed AWS, we can add some projects in AWS also.
Okay. Thank you, Chandra. Okay.
Okay.
Chandra, this is Punta. Like, I have done my infrastructure thing in Azure. So how this? I don't know about AWS. So
No
does
problem.
that? So
No
how
problem,
will?
Punita. Because see, either you go Azure DevOps. So you see, only thing is we need multiple machine. Whether you create through Azure or through AWS doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
The tools and the techniques that we are going to use are common across all the clouds. Only thing, the way that you create your infrastructure might be different in Azure, that might be different in AWS, but the end result is the same. I want a Linux machine, so we will create an EC2 instance in AWS, and you will create a virtual machine VM, right, in Azure. That's all,
Yes. So if
right?
if you want to do, you're telling that you will be giving some assignments, right? So all those things we have to do in AWS only, right? So we need to create the account in AWS or in Azure.
No, if you are familiar with Azure, you go ahead and do. See, all that I need is a two Linux machines. So whether you have it in your local, or whether you have it in your VMware, or whether you have it in Azure or Google or AWS, doesn't matter. Since I am familiar with AWS, I'll be using AWS. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, thank you.
Actually, I did AWS in 2020, so that now I'm doing as a Java developer. But actually, I'm not that much in AWS. Can you help with this?
Okay, but have you completed the certification or only the course?
No, no, only course.
Okay, but I think what you may need to do is, my recommendation is, please start refreshing whatever you learned in
Okay.
2020, 21, whatever it is, right? Now it has so
Okay.
many things have changed. Okay,
Yes,
so you
yes,
need to
yes,
you need
yes.
to get updated. Please keep yourself updated, otherwise it's going to be very difficult, right? But the
Mm,
but the AWS piece, whatever we are doing here, I will share all the commands and everything with you all,
okay,
right? So you
thanks.
can use them to do the exercises and all.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think we are done. So thanks everyone again for joining. And
Chandra,
anything else, Bashir?
yeah, I don't know about any programming language.
Yeah, I think to start with, we don't want to have any programming language, and we are not even going to
Okay,
code anything. We are not going to code
okay,
any application. Okay, we are only going to see how to build an application and deploy in DevOps. That's all.
okay,
We are not going to create any application.
okay,
I will give you some sample applications. We will use that to kind of build and do some changes and check in and do those changes and deploy. So you don't have to have, but my recommendation is, please try to learn at least one programming language, which I would prefer Python. It is easy to learn and it is also very hot in the market.
sure.
And if you're having experience with Linux basics, that will also add to your advantage.
Okay,
All right. Anyone has any question before we close this off? So I want you to share the feedback. How was today's class? Are you guys okay to continue? And about the trainer, please give it to the group so that the coordinator of your course will also have an idea that you guys are okay with me, or they wanted to change the trainer and stuff, right? So they will also come to me. So please share your valuable feedback. Either way, it is fine. Don't worry. Even if it is not very bad, I will change myself at least for the next batch. So please give your valuable feedback. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Please share your details in the WhatsApp group. I will give you the access. I will upload the documents and ping you in the WhatsApp group. Then you can go and download maybe 2 hours from now, right? You can go and download.
Yeah, we already shared through WhatsApp. Most of them we all shared you.
Yeah. I didn't see that. So I didn't see the WhatsApp still. Once I'll take a look, I'll give the access, and this recording will be available after 1.5 hours. It will get processed. Once it is processed and ready for download, I will download and upload it to this particular folder and give you all access, and you guys can check the access and let me know.
Sure, Chandra.
Okay. And just before we step up, just give me a 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I just wanted to show you something, right? I just wanted to share my profile with you so that you are really confident that you are learning with somebody who is aware of those subjects, right? It's not that you are learning from someone else, right? So, and some of the feedback that our students have given to me, I'm just sharing you. Okay. So this is my profile. So I have around like 15 plus years of experience in the IT industry, and I'm already a lead solutions architect and Terraform consultant. And I have like more than 5 plus years of experience working as an AWS architect. And I have trained about like more students, 100 plus students from 2018, uh, both offline, online, and all my trainings are 100% hands-on. And there are some people who has joined from my AWS course to here, so they will also vouch for me, I believe, what we have done there. And I'm specialized in Terraform, CloudFormation, VPC, Boto 3, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and Ansible. And I'm a professional solutions architect certified, and I'm also Terraform associate certified as well. Just to give a small, because you need to have some confidence on your trainer as well, right? Whether he is capable of delivering things or not, right?
So,
So you need, so
Chandra, just
even yeah, even if your trainer, wherever you go, if your trainer doesn't show this or say about this, please ask, right? You have all rights to know about your trainer, right?
yeah. So I just want to highlight one thing regarding Chandra's one. So I was the part of Chandra's in the earlier AWS training also. So actually, he's very good trainer. He gives a lot of hands-on practice also. So that's why I was waiting for his DevOps training also. I have joined another class also here with a different trainer, but I don't like the way of trainer. So I have just waited for 1 month to join Chandra's one. So you can think that how Chandra's way of teaching is there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, adding a point here, the yeah, me and myself and Punita also that's face the same. The when we last week or 2 weeks back we had joined in some other tutor, but we are not that much satisfied. So we were just waited for the person, but today is the first class. As he explained, you explained the way. Now we are like little much. We got little confident. Like okay, we were like placed in some new, yeah, talented one. Yes, that's it.
Okay, okay.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
Pramila. Yes, I was about to say the same thing.
Okay, okay. No, no,
so
I
Chandra,
have,
my feedback already provided to Chitra, so he is very well aware of these things. So I don't need to check it again. But yeah, anyhow, I will add the comment feedback.
Okay, today is the first class, but we are very much confident that we can learn more about from you regarding
yeah,
this
Yeah.
yeah, sure,
topic.
Yeah,
sure, sure. So my policy is always right for any students, right? I say always it is learn and share. It is not that I know everything, but whatever I know, I will try to convey to my students, and there are other way around also, right? So if I don't know something, I will say I don't know. So I don't want to say
Mm-mm.
something wrong to you. So either I will go and find out and let you know the right stuff, okay? And these are some of the feedback which we got from the training websites and stuff, right? So just for your information. So let's continue this journey. So let's make sure that we are not just uh, here just as a trainer and student relationship. It's just like co peers, right? That we are all working together and we have to learn and share from each other. That's all.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
All
you,
right, guys.
Chandra.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
will meet next week. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Chandra. Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.